Hello, good morning guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and let's be honest here. So my videos for this week, the ones that I planned out, kind of fell through. So I was originally gonna get this mystery book box that I have down here under all these books. It was 20 books for $15 that were just used books, and it was a mystery box. Turns out I didn't like or care about anything that was in that box, so that video fell through. Then I was gonna do a 24-hour readathon, and then yesterday I had to film, edit, and post my September TBR for you guys. That way I could stay on my schedule, and only ended up reading about 4 hours on that 24-hour readathon. So realistically, I don't think I'll be able to read 10 hours straight today and 10 hours straight tomorrow. So I'm gonna hold off on that video. So what I'm gonna do, I am going to pick a book out of the jar within reason, and we're gonna read it for this video. I am not gonna read a book that is 600 or 800 pages long, because realistically I can't read 300 to 400 pages in a day. I don't typically listen to audiobooks, and even if I can get an audiobook for it, if I'm lucky, I can't always get them from my library if enough people have gotten audiobooks that day. So it's very limited. So I'm going to pick something that's not excessively long. So I won't be reading Gone with the Wind. I won't be reading Count of Monte Cristo. I won't be reading Quicksilver, as much as I would love to. It's just not in the cards for the next couple of days. Honestly, I would really contemplate trying Quicksilver, because if I got super into it, it could be possible. But like I said, I want to keep this realistic. I am not going to choose something that is a classic, most likely, because it's just something that I am not typically in the mood for. So like I said, I'm going to choose a book within reason. I'm not going to read a Peter Capstick book, because as much as I enjoy those, they are nonfiction and they do take me a little bit longer to get through. So we might go through a few before we decide on one. But if you don't know, and if you haven't seen my jar, my red ones are my oldest books. These are the books that I've had for 2+ years. The orange ones are the books that I got between May and December of last year. And then my purple ones, I think it was May or March. Mostly from last year. And then my purple ones are all the things that I've gotten in 2025. So I have a lot of books. And so now let's see what we might possibly be reading for this video. Okay, so it is a purple one, which is potentially a good sign. If I can get this open, if my fingers will work. Verity by Colleen Hoover. Holy crap. I just picked this one up at a little free library. I saw It Starts With Us, It Ends With Us, one of those books, and I almost grabbed it from a little free library a couple weeks ago, and I thought, you know what, no. If I'm going to read any Colleen Hoover, I'm going to read Verity, because that one was so talked about, so hyped for what it was, that's where I was going to start for Colleen Hoover. So I seen this at a little free library and I snagged it, because I did. That was what I thought was Verity. So that's easy. I could do that. That was like a perfect first pick. Okay, so let me grab Verity, and then we'll talk about it. If you don't know what it's about, I'll give you the synopsis and all that jazz. Okay, so here we have Verity by Colleen Hoover. Little free library. Really nice condition. Very happy with that. So this says, Lowen Ashley is a struggling writer on the brink of financial ruin when she accepts the job offer of a lifetime. Jeremy Crawford, husband of best-selling author Verity Crawford, has hired Lowen to complete the remaining books in a successful series his injured wife is unable to finish. Lowen arrives at the Crawford home, ready to sort through years of Verity's notes and outlines, hoping to find enough material to get her started. What Lowen doesn't expect to uncover is in the chaotic office is an unfinished autobiography Verity never intended for anyone to read. Page after page of bone-chilling admissions, including Verity's recollection of the night her family was forever altered. Lowen decides to keep the manuscript hidden from Jeremy, knowing its contents could devastate the already grieving father. But as Lowen's feelings for Jeremy begin to intensify, she recognizes all the ways she could benefit if he were to read his wife's words. After all, no matter how devoted Jeremy is to his injured wife, a truth this horrifying would make it impossible for him to continue loving her. A standalone romantic thriller from #1 bestselling author Colleen Hoover. So, I am definitely nervous for this book. Because I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to like it. Let me look up the trigger warnings for this first, though, because if this is all about, like, him beating his wife, I'm not going to read it. So let me just double check. I hate to look up. Oh, goodness. This is a lot. Okay. No. This has a lot. I will try it. And if I don't like it within the first, like, 50 to 100 pages, then I will come back and I'll DNF it and we'll pick something else. So I might be screwing myself for this video, too. But I will try it and we will see. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start this. It is almost 7:30, and so I have some time to be able to read it, and then we'll talk about it here in a little while once I have gotten started with it. Hi, hello. So you know how I said I wasn't sure about Verity with starting it out, looking at trigger warnings, and I wasn't sure, but I tried out. Well, it's now 11:30, and I am so hooked into this book right now. So I am 103 pages into this book. Now this book is following Lowen, and Lowen is an author, and she's just not a very successful one. So this book starts out where she witnesses an accident. She is at a crosswalk in Manhattan going to a meeting, and somebody gets hit by a car, and she is right there. So she gets blood on her, and a guy comes up to her and he is asking if she's okay, and she's kind of like in shock and kind of freaked out. Come to find out, it's the first time that she's left her house in like months, because she was taking care of her mother who had colon cancer, and her mother just died like a week ago. And this guy's asking if she's okay, and he points to a coffee shop and he's like, come on, there should be a bathroom in here. You can get cleaned up and, you know, all that jazz. So they go in and he introduces himself. He's Jeremy, she's Lowen, you know, whatever. He ends up giving her his button-up shirt that he's wearing. He's got an undershirt on. He gives her a shirt so that way she can take off her shirt and like change, because she's got blood on her. And they move on with their lives. She goes to the meeting, and when she's going through the security for the building for this meeting, he shows up right behind her saying, nice shirt. And apparently he is going to a meeting in the same building, on the same floor. Come to find out, it's a meeting with him and some other people. So Jeremy is the husband to a super famous author, Verity Crawford. And she is a best-selling author, but she got into a car accident, and she is not able to finish the last 3 books that she's contracted for. So they're asking for Lowen to come in and finish out the series as kind of like a co-author, ghostwriter kind of situation. She doesn't want to do it because there's publicity involved, and she gets super anxious when there's any publicity. So at first she says no, and then he talks to her and he's like, they're lowballing you. Ask for this and then you'll be fine. So she does, and she ends up taking this job. Well, Jeremy and Verity, not only was she in this car accident, they had lost their twin daughters to issues. Their one daughter had a allergic reaction while in the care of somebody else. And then their other daughter was found in the lake behind their house. She had drowned. It was an accident. So they've lost both their daughters. So now it's just Jeremy and their son, Crew. And Verity, when she finds out what state Verity is now in, Verity is a vegetable. she is not able to move, she's not able to speak, she's not able to interact in any way. And that's why they need Lowen to come in and finish writing out the books. So she got evicted from her apartment, and now she is living temporarily with them in this house, this mansion, I should say. This place sounds huge. And she is starting to look through all of Verity's things in her office, trying to find any hint at where she wanted the series to go, and reading the first books so that way she can kind of get a grasp of everything. But while she's looking through the files, she comes across a manuscript for a book that Verity wrote that's actually an autobiography. And this is about her life with Jeremy. It starts out, because this ends up being a book within a book. So you're reading the storyline itself, and then you're also getting chapters that are from this autobiography that Verity wrote. And it was before her accident, but it was after their first daughter died. So now at this point, we're starting to get these chapters mixed in. So there is a sexiness to the first couple of chapters of Verity's story. It's talking about how they have this whirlwind romance that's very sexual, very physical, and they have this just really amazing romance to start with. And Lowen is reading these chapters, and she's like, I know I shouldn't be reading this, but I am so intrigued right now. Like, what is going to happen? And I need this insight to Verity to help write these books, or it would help to have this insight. And so we have had the first couple of chapters of Verity's autobiography, and in trying to look through all of Verity's paperwork and office things, Lowen was sitting outside watching, she was sitting outside reading one of Verity's previous books, and Jeremy and crew are down by the lake pulling out boards from the old dock, and crew turns around. He's 5 years old. Crew turns around and he's waving, she thinks that he's waving at her. So she waves back, and then she realizes that he's actually not looking at her. He's looking up at Verity's window. And then she looks up, and the curtain moves. And that's kind of where I'm leaving off. I don't want to say any more about that. But I am so intrigued. This book is giving me vibes of like The Only One Left by Riley Sager, with Lenora Hope being only having movement in the one arm after she has a stroke. And it's giving me those vibes. It's so eerie because it's like reading somebody's diary, you know. That's basically what she's doing, is she's reading Verity's diary while she's living in this house with a total stranger and going to be writing the rest of her books. And it's got a very eerie feel to it. Like, it's a very strange situation, and it's odd. So there is that. And then the book within a book, it's interesting the way that she's laid it out. So there's like, I don't even know how to like describe what I'm thinking right now. I'm so excited about this. I'm excited to see where it goes. Like I said, I'm just over 100 pages in, and I am so incredibly hooked in this book. Like, I'm glued to it. My daughter was listening to Shake It Off by Taylor Swift on repeat before she fell asleep, because she's decided that that's like her new favorite song because of Sing. And so she was listening to that song on repeat, and I was just glued to my book. It's been like 4 hours for me to read 100 pages, which it seems like that's taking me forever. But when you figure like being a mom and having things to do, it's really not bad. I feel like I'm flying through this book. It's super readable. It's super quick. And I'm very intrigued. It's really easy to read. It's really easy to understand and to follow. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. Who knows? Maybe my first thriller in 2 years that I give 5 stars is going to be a romance thriller, which, I mean, technically The Memory Collectors that I read by Deep Meserve is considered like a sci-fi thriller, but it wasn't really a thriller. It was paced at the end like a thriller with the action and the suspense and stuff, but I wouldn't really call that a thriller. This one, I don't know what's going to happen. I know things are going to go dark. I know it's going to go dark, but there's so little I know about this book going into it, and I'm just having a great time. So I feel like I'm flying through this book like a romance, or I guess like a thriller, but it's super readable and it's really easy to understand and follow, and it's just really intriguing. The chapters aren't super long. They're a nice length. They're like, you know, between, I don't know, like 8 to 12, 8 to 13 pages, you know, right in that general area. And so the chapters aren't super long. I feel like I'm making great progress and I'm just having a great time. So I'm really glad that this has worked out so well. I really needed this win right now with how my videos for this week have been going. Having the one random book that I choose out of my jar actually be a fast-paced, readable book that is just a little over 300 pages, it's not very long, is perfect. This is exactly what I needed for this video. And I feel like I could absolutely finish this tomorrow so that way I can get this video edited and get it posted on Friday morning. So I'm having a great time. I'm gonna go keep reading this, but I wanted to come on and let you guys know that I am gonna continue. I am very intrigued and I'm enjoying the heck out of this. So, I mean, will I ever read Colleen Hoover again? I don't know, maybe not. But at least for right now, I'm having a great time. Okay, it's been like 5 minutes since I just updated you. You know how I said this book was gonna get dark? I read one more chapter. I'm only on 111. I literally just read one more chapter. This right here. You know how I said it was gonna get dark? Yeah, it just got way fucking dark. Like, way dark. Okay, I'm gonna go get dinner prepped and then I'm gonna keep reading. Good morning, guys. So the last time I updated you about Verity, I told you things got dark, and things certainly got very dark. So believe it or not, I finished this book last night. I read over 300 pages yesterday, which is very unusual for me, and I finished this book at 11 o'clock last night. So, does that mean it got a good rating? Yep, it did. It did. This is my first 5-star thriller in 2 years. So this book shocked me. It was messed up. It bothered me. And if you ask me how I made it through this book as a mom of 3, I could not tell you. I honestly cannot tell you. But I was so intrigued. I got vibes of The Only One Left with the ghosty type footsteps and doors locking and stuff like that. I totally got the vibes of The Only One Left with this book, and I was stressed out and mad, and I was so intrigued, and I felt like I flew through this book. I don't normally read over 300 pages in a day, but I finished this entire book from start to finish between 7:30 and 11 yesterday. 7:30 in the morning and 11 o'clock last night. I read this book in its entirety, and that is with cooking dinner and spending time with my husband and my kids and getting my kids from the bus, like all the normal things that I do. I cleaned, you know, all the normal things that I do on a day-to-day basis, and I still finished this entire book. I thought it was so good. It was gripping. It was interesting. It was easy to follow. It was fast-paced, and it, like I said, it's dark. If you have, because I was trying to figure out, like, from the half to way to 3/4 point in this book, I was trying to figure out who I would recommend this to, and honestly, I don't know. All I could think was that if you are somebody who likes thrillers and you don't have triggers, this would be one to give a try, because there are triggering things in this book. It is meant to make you uncomfortable, and it did that. It very much did that. It surprised me, and it, like I said, it bothered me, And I was so interested, and I couldn't stop reading. You know, you put it down and then you pick it right back up again. And it made me think last night, 'cause there's a line in Anne of Green Gables. We used to watch Anne of Green Gables all the time when I was growing up. And my mom and my sister and I would watch it. And before they go into the woods for, like, walking through for a shortcut, she says it's deliciously scary. She calls the woods deliciously scary. And that was the line that I thought of for this. Because it's not something that is, like, fun to read, but at the same time, it's so easy to read and it's so interesting that you want to see what happens. And honestly, like, I could not be more surprised. Will I ever pick up Colleen Hoover again? I have no idea. I don't know if I have any interest in her romances, but this book was just so interesting. It was so interesting. And like I said, beware of the triggers in this book because it is triggering. It is meant to bother you. But if you like thrillers and you don't really have anything in particular that triggers you, I think this one could be worth a shot because it was done so well. And how the heck you can come up with this kind of a plot line is beyond me because, like, I would never even consider some of the things that she did in this book, and I can't get over it. So that being said, this was a total success, and I am so happy for that. I am so thrilled, and I finally got, after 2 years, a 5-star thriller. My last thriller that I gave 5 stars to was The Only One Left by Riley Sager when it came out, when I read that. I read Middle of the Night, and I gave it 2 stars. I've kind of moved away from thrillers a little bit because I've gotten frustrated. I've had 4-star thrillers, but nothing that really had me so sucked in and intrigued that I just kept on reading and kept on reading and kept on reading. I haven't had a book like that in the thriller horror genre in a long time. So reading this one, being by Colleen Hoover of all people, and having it be a 5-star thriller for me shocks me, but I'm so beyond thrilled. And it makes me excited to try and pick up more thrillers again. I have a Frida McFadden, which I'm very nervous to read because I hated the other book that I read from her, Never Lie. I hated that book so much, but I listened to it on audio. So I hated that one, but I have The House Guest, or The Housemaid, whatever. I have Megan Miranda books. I have a Riley Sager book that I still need to read. I have, well, technically now I have 2 because his newer one came out, but I don't know if I want to read that one after Middle of the Night. Anyways, so I have Megan Miranda, I have Frida McFadden, I have Riley Sager, I have Stephen King. I have all kinds of these thriller horror books that now I'm more excited to pick them up because I know that I can still give a 5-star rating to a thriller. So, that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. If you've read this book, what did you think of it? Did you DNF it because of the things that happen in this book? I'm really curious to see what everybody's thoughts are. I know this book was super popular there for a long time, and I'm curious of what your thoughts were. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on Tuesday with another video. Bye.